Well, hello and welcome to a surprise Daily Dominion recording. I figured this kingdom was worth showcasing for sure, and I got like half an hour of time to showcase it. So yeah, this one is insane. I can't promise that any videos will come out that soon after this, but we'll see, we'll see. Yeah, but this kingdom has the campaign features because it's Sunday and cards from all of the different expansions. And the campaign features this time are pretty plunder campaign themed because the traits here we have a trait that can apply to more than just one card, as is the usual stated in the rules, which is inherited. And also we have a duration card that starts the game in play, and this duration card is Quartermaster, which is crazy because Quartermaster is very powerful, letting you set aside um, a card costing up to 4, or you can take one that you have set aside earlier into your hand at the beginning of each of your turns. So the main obstacle for Quartermaster is acquiring it and getting it into play. So starting with it is already crazy. And then, in addition to that, as if that wouldn't be enough, we have Footpad. And Footpad by itself, okay, it's an attack that gives you 2 coffers and lets the other players discard down to 3 cards in hand. But also, this means, and games using this, when you gain a card in an action phase, you get +1 card. And well, Quartermaster happens to gain you a card in your action phase, so already on turn 1, you're gonna set aside a card and will draw a card. And maybe even just setting aside cards the whole time is the best. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, we have a lot of other stuff going on, but yeah, then there's this double inherited thingy. We can exchange 2 of our starting cards with Page and Market Square. And yeah, let me showcase the kingdom here. Let me hide my camera just a sec. And yeah, we have a bunch of interesting cards. Most strikingly, probably the Page line. Page itself just gives you +1 card and +1 action, but when you discard this from play, you may exchange it for a Treasure Hunter. And there's this whole Page line. Treasure Hunters will gain you silver per card the player to your right, so the other player has gained on their last turn, and then you can exchange it for Warrior, which may trash cards costing between 3 and 4. Hero, which will give you +2 coins, and you gain a treasure of your choice, usually gold in a treasure-less kingdom otherwise. And then finally Champion, which will make you immune to opponents' attacks and will grant you +1 action whenever you play an action card. But all of these cards are utterly irrelevant in this kingdom, I think, because Treasure Hunter is just crazy in combination with Footpad. Imagine your opponent gained, I don't know, 3 cards the last turn because one of them was a Quartermaster gain and they had a market square, so they bought a card and they were able to buy 2 cards. Then your treasure hunter will gain you 3 silvers, and because Footpad is in the kingdom, you will also draw 3 cards with it. And yeah, that's already a crazy premise. Oops, I didn't want to. I wanted to show this again. So this is going to be super relevant, and there happens to be a victory card that counts the silvers in your deck and will give you points according to how many silvers you have. Usually this is super weak. Feudum is not the greatest, but here, um, here I think you're just gunning for a lot of treasure hunters and a lot of silvers and a lot of Fiora, just for the Feudum victory points. There's also an event that might give you a lot of victory points called Dominate, and that essentially is the next step, like imaginary step after Colony and Platina. You just dominate. So, for context, well, you see that estates cost 2, duchies cost 5, and we have provinces with they're costing 8. And fine, then there are colonies costing 11, and then the next logical step would be a card costing 14, but instead it's an event that just gains your province and gives you extra victory points for your deck, and it's dominate for you. And yeah, um, I don't really know what else to say about this. I think that the Feuda victory points might outscore it, but still there might be turns where it can come up and we may be able to dominate a bit. Apart from that, Crypt might be useful early on if you can stow away a few treasures, especially if you draw a lot with your treasure hunter. So, stowing away a few silvers sounds like a good idea. But yeah, I'm not sure we're going to go for this. Bounty Hunter, usually super strong in kingdoms with shelters, so we start the game with these 3 cards instead of estates. But here, since we're going to replace 2 of them with Page and Market Square, and since the kingdom is going to be just way too fast for anything, I think we are skipping Bounty Hunter here. And yeah, I don't know what else there is. Familiar and Soothsayer as cursors aren't as strong as usual in games with Footpad because they also draw your opponents more cards per curse gain, like Familiar 1 and Soothsayer even 2 cards per curse gain. On the plus side, Soothsayer will also draw yourself a card, but yeah, I don't know. Um, Yeah, and this looks very rushy. The silvers might even empty, so we will just go for pages, market squares, and Feuda, I think. If we hit 5 early on, there could be a debate between Crypt and Quartermaster, and I don't think that we'll advance the pages beyond Treasure Hunter. If we really gun for those Feudum points, we just want to keep it at that. All right, let's have a quick look at the kingdom plot before we start, just for funsies. It says there is little to no draw, and yes, that is true in a traditional sense. Like in a traditional sense, well, warrior is like the only proper normal draw. Maybe crypt a bit as well can increase your hand size. But here, well, quartermaster is net draw, well, Quartermaster is also usually tiny bit of draw, but here, especially with Footpad, it's extra draw. There is no way to reliably trash cards from your hand with Market Square, except for the Hovel, which you may trash when you gain a victory card, and opponent's warriors, trashing your own cards. Yeah, but apart from that, Market Square gold gaining is not going to be that much of a thing. Sorry, let me show you this again. One of your cards is trashed. You may discard this for a from your hand to gain a gold. Sorry for the kingdom plot there. But yeah, so my point is that there is indeed some draw, especially with the treasure hunter stuff going on. There's lots of attacks, but they shouldn't be all too relevant, especially the footpad discard. I mean, so what? You discard 2 cards, but you might draw a ton with treasure hunters, lots of gaining, lots of thinning with bounty hunter in principle, but we're not going to get to that point. And yeah, just a very interesting kingdom. So, what do we inherit is the question. Well, usually I would just go and just inherit the hovel and the overgrown estate. But here, since we might start gaining Feuda really early, and the necropolis we won't need really, as we won't need any extra actions. I think it's better to just inherit necropolis and overgrown estate, and then maybe we get to trash out the hovel, which might be better than just keeping around this useless necropolis. Mm, yeah, then opening wise, I think if you don't see the market square, you can go for a crypt. If you do see the market square, you just go for maybe page and market square. And then the first quartermaster set aside, I think, should be just page and picking it up. So you get 2 treasure hunters as early as possible. and yeah, we go from there. So let's do this. We could even just inherit the page again. That's interesting. Replace the page if we didn't want it in our deck. But of course, that would be stupid. So I would say we just start this game, tuck away a page. So yeah, hopefully we find the page here. We do not. It's a bit of a bummer. And next turn, yeah, I think we're just going for a market square page. And this turn we are just untucking this page, getting a few treasure hunters. Now here, this could be a crypt, maybe. I think at this stage it should be a crypt. Quartermaster, as I said, is also super strong. But yeah, the the page is missing is a bit of a bummer, but what can you do? And here we already start setting aside Feuda, I think. Tuck away this and play these treasure hunters, amazing, and we find them with our crypt, so we get to stash away those coppers. And yeah, that's just really good. So here, I think we just go double market square, maybe one more page even, depending on how many cards our opponents will gain. We might not be able to empty the silver pile super quickly, so I think it's good to just go for a bunch of pages, treasure hunters, and especially with the two quartermasters in play, our opponent is expected to gain a lot of cards. And I don't know whether you know the knocking noise. Actually, let me fix that really quickly. I'm not super sure whether my microphone picked up the knocking noise, but it is unfortunately a woodpecker that decides that our facade is really nice for packing, and you can chase it away, but it is a bit obnoxious sometimes. So back to the game. We exchange this page for a treasure hunter. We keep the other treasure hunters as well. A bit unfortunate that we didn't find our hovel in a fitting hand for the Theodem, but it's fine. Um, and yeah, I think we should be off to the races here. Again, no hovel in deck, but oh well. Just discard these. Maybe we want to buy another crypt here, but the AI gained 4 cards there, so our treasure hunters should be amazing. And we tuck another Feudum, draw a bunch of cards. Do we want to... I think we're fine drawing into this shuffle even. Yeah. So yeah, amazing. And here we go for... we could even dominate already. I think we want... It's a question of whether we find the crypt with the treasure hunters next turn, or whether we just... yeah, I think we dominate once just to get rid of this hovel, and then go for maybe 2 more market squares, a crypt, and this could even just be a border guard. I don't know. There is not that much merit of page over border guard, I think. And yeah, just exchange for treasure hunters. Yeah, trust that we find more treasure hunters, and we should be good. If we were to discard here, we would just discard the silvers. And I mean, AI's deck is also humming, but we just have way more potential for big scoring. Like all of those Feuda in our deck are going to be great. So let's see how far we can draw. Unfortunately, not super far, but we do get to dominate and go for... well, is dominate the right way to go here? I think so. Let's dominate and go for another border guard. And yeah, see what this turn brings. Whether AI will gain some cards. No, it just picks up a card. But it does gain a Feudum there. That's good for our treasure hunter. We probably will get attacked here, but that's fine. And yeah, let's see. It's just that we're already so far ahead in points, and AI has no means of catching up in feudum points, and our feuda are just going to be worth more and more. Um, yeah, so we should be really good. I would, of course, be really happy if AI gained a bit more, um, a few more cards during its turns, but well, you can't have everything, I guess, and therefore we're just stuck with those measly 2 silver gaining treasure hunters. But we do find the crypt here, getting to stash away those treasures, and yeah, I think we could even just triple feudum this turn. Mm, this would deny the AI the ability of just gaining those feuda for itself. Actually, I mean, it might be a bit on the slow side, putting all of those green cards into our deck, but now we only need to empty 3 of the market squares. I think the silvers will empty soon-ish if the AI keeps gaining a few cards. And then, yeah, we're also ahead by 70 points, so I would be a bit surprised if we now lost this. Although with our thick deck, there's also always the possibility that we just draw loads of hands of only silvers. But yeah, hmm. In any case, yeah, now our quartermasters can gain us market squares or silvers, and I think silvers probably, though it's not super clear to me. But yeah, it's turn 6, and we've essentially won the game. Slight spoiler, I played the Kingdom before I showcased this now, and there I won in 6 turns with more than 90 points, but it's also dependent, of course, on how many cards the AI gains to power up your own treasure hunters. And so, yeah, we talk, what did I say, silver or market square? Probably, I'm super torn on this. Probably market square is better. But here we have the 4 treasures, treasure hunter, and yeah, this should be um, already pretty good. I mean, 6 buys, um, 6 silvers left. Had we found another treasure hunter, then we would have won on the spot, but unfortunately that's not the case, so we just go, what do we go? I think, well, let's see how much the silvers are worth. 7 points for 7 feuda. Um, yeah, I guess we dominate here and go for another market square. And then next turn we should win for sure, unless the AI opts to not gain any cards here. In that case, I mean, we are a bit sad, but still, yeah, it's a bit impossible for AI to not gain any cards here, right? They will just be stuck in place. Yeah, there's the estate gain, and that means that we have the win in hand. We also have the market square already stashed away, so we can unplug this, probably dominate a few more times. And yeah, I like those estate gains. This means, no, well, if there are only 4 silvers left, so we won't be able to really capitalize on that. But yeah, because after those 4 silvers have been gained, our treasure hunters won't draw us any more cards. But luckily, we are very far ahead in points with more than 100. So yeah, AI is just struggling to do anything here. But yeah, while it's gaining a copper with the hero, we can just sit and wait, and we'll probably buy a province here. Mm, okay, sensible stuff. Mm, but yeah, that's the game. This is a crazy kingdom. Good. tuck or untuck. I think I like untucking just because that means that we have a buy in hand. And now this treasure hunter is very sad. It doesn't draw us any cards. Very disappointing. But we can go out in style with a final dominate and even buy a victory copper and yeah, keep those trusty treasure hunters in our deck with this crazy 144 to 25 points lead. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this playthrough. As I said, this wasn't the first time I played this kingdom. I fired it up earlier, as I usually do those days. Uh, very quickly played through it and then decided to make this video. You can see my earlier score. Like, this is the proof that it only took 6 turns back then here. But yeah, as I said, here the AI just wait, you can that's kind of hard, but you can see that the silver's piled already on turn 6 just because there was a turn where a treasure hunter would yield like 9 silvers because the AI had gained 9 cards, and that was just amazing. And yeah, here you also see that I only had 3 treasure hunters, while in this game, let's see, we opted for 4 because of our early draws. And also this game, our page missed the first shuffle. It was among the bottom 3 cards, which wasn't the case in the 6 turner. And I believe on the Discord, I've seen someone do it in 4 turns. I guess with the optimal draws, you just skip crypt, you just go for market squares, treasure hunters, and hope for the AI to gain a bunch of cards. And then, boom, turn 4, this supply piles like market squares, Feuda, and silver are empty. Poof. I don't know, crazy kingdom. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will try to catch you in the next one, whenever that may be. Let me actually show you the AI stack one last time. This pathetic hero gaining those coppers. Well, truly a hero. Yeah, that wraps it up. And yeah, catch you in the next one. Goodbye.